Hello guys, I'm back to another video. So as promised, this is going to be a tutorial on how I made my claw marks for Halloween. Just excuse my appearance right now. I just got out of the shower a couple minutes ago, so I have no makeup on and my hair is in the process of drying, so it just looks like a disaster. But yeah, the tutorial is actually it's not a hard thing to make. It takes a while because you've got to do it and then you've got to let it dry before you can paint it. But yeah, let us just get into this. So here's the list of stuff you're gonna need. First, you're gonna need a drawing of the claw marks you want to do. You can do them freehand, but I'm not good with freehand, so I kind of drew a rough shape of what I want them to look like. You need like anything that's got one of these clear covers on it, so like a CD or a movie case. This one got destroyed by my dog like a really long time ago. You need some liquid latex. You're gonna need some tissue paper and some toilet paper, or paper towel works too. And then you need a little kind of sponge thing. You can buy either disposable ones, or I pulled these out of eyeshadow palettes that I have because I'm never going to use the sponge ends because I don't use sponges on my eyes because I can't bring myself to do it. Then to paint them after they have dried, I bought this injuries stack it was from a Halloween store as well. You're also going to need a setting powder to set them later on after they've dried. This is the exact same one that I used on Halloween, so the scars will look slightly similar. I'm just gonna do this big one here so you guys can get a pretty good view of what I'm gonna do. So first, we're just gonna take the toilet paper and the tissue paper and we're gonna split them. So just kind of find a corner and split them apart so that they're extra thin. So you first want to kind of look at the size of your scar and you want to rip the first piece of the tissue paper so you can lay it down as soon as the liquid latex is on. Just kind of ripped my way down to make kind of just a long strip. This makes a lot of excess tissue paper and stuff too. So, and then I kind of put it on the scar and I just kind of rip it so it's the rough shape of the line you drew. It's never going to be exact because if you make it exact, it's not going to look as real. So just kind of rip it, and if you have a seam on the one side, definitely try to get rid of the seam because it just kind of makes things look funny at the end. So after you kind of have the general shape kind of down, it does not have to be exact, just kind of like a rough shape, and make sure you taper the ends a little bit because when you cut something, like if it's supposed to be claws, if you look at like any kind of cat claws, they're pointed, right? So when you go in and dig, it's gonna make a sharp point, and then they come down and then the skin will rip, and then when they pull the claws out, it's gonna taper down again. So make sure if you're making, especially if you're making claws, like if these are just cuts, then it's not as big a deal, but if you're making claws, make sure they taper at both ends. So I'm just I have just like a lid here that I used for Halloween, so it's got some like dried blood and foundation and stuff in it. So I'm just it's just a lid off of like a box I bought from like the dollar store to put stuff in. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this liquid latex. I'm gonna pour it into the corner so that's easier to get to. And then I'm just going to take my little sponge and you're going to paint over your outline. So just put liquid latex inside the outline of your cut, and then take your after you've painted it, take your piece of tissue paper and just kind of lay it. And then you can just take the other end of a sponge or your finger if you wanted and just kind of press down the spot where the wetness is. So you can rip off a little bit of the excess on the side here. Don't rip off too much because as I learned, it's easier, you need to leave a little bit on the outsides of the cuts so that way it blends into the skin a little bit better. So don't make it exactly like within the shape of the cut, or it's just doesn't look as realistic. You have to do a lot more painting and stuff to kind of make it look real. which is just a lot more work. And don't use scissors to cut this because it'll end up looking fake, and we don't want that. Because real cuts are not exactly like perfectly straight. So once that's drying, we need to rip another piece. We're gonna do about 4 layers of the tissue paper, and then we'll move on to the next step. Also, because you could do this just right on your skin, but it's kind of more complicated. Like I've seen people that just do it right on their skin and then like use hair dryers and stuff to just blow dry it, so it speeds up the drying process. So you can do that, but if you have time, I find it easier to do this way, and you get it looks a little bit better because it has lots more time to dry, and you can paint it on a flat surface or begin the paint on a flat surface instead of trying to paint it on your body somewhere. So with your separated tissue paper, if you're doing a longer cut like the one that I have, you'll probably have to keep 2 sheets together. If you're doing a shorter one like the 2 that I did, you probably only need like 1 square. We're just going to roll the tissue paper. Doesn't have to be precise, just kind of roll it. And then take both ends and twist it. And you want to make it fairly tight, like you don't really want it to be loose. And then take this and put it on your cut. And this is kind of how you form the shape of it. So in case you lost a little bit of the shape in the process of doing all the liquid latex, this will be how you make it again. So after you've got it down, just kind of take a pair of scissors and just kind of roughly cut the end off where the end of the cut's gonna be. And then we're just gonna take that and cover it with the liquid latex again. And then we're just going to do the same for the other side. So let this dry for a couple minutes, and then we're going to move on. We're going to move back to the tissue paper. So again, we're going to rip another piece of tissue paper, and we're just going to cover up the whole cut. This is more to just kind of help make sure everything kind of stays in place when it dries and you're pulling it off and painting it and stuff. It just helps make sure that everything stays secured down. So with another piece of tissue paper, I just put it down, and make sure the tissue paper is long enough to cover all the side, like to be in the middle and kind of go down the sides. So I usually push it down in the middle first and then kind of fold it over the crease here. And then we're just going to want to cover all this in liquid latex again. We've gone over it again, given it a minute to dry. We're going to do 1 more layer of the tissue paper, and then we'll be done for the day. But once you've applied that final coat of liquid latex, leave it for about 12 to 24 hours. It should be pretty much dry. It's going to feel still a little bit tacky, and that's when we're going to set it. So, I mean, I left mine for like almost a full 24 hours before I painted the first set. So that's what I'm going to do again today. So yeah, just leave it, don't touch it, don't cover it with anything, just leave it be, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright, so it's been more than 1 day. It's actually been like 3 days because I just got really busy. But this is kind of the finished product before it's painted. Again, if you have high quality latex, I'm pretty sure it'll dry clear, but I have low quality latex, so it dried yellow. But the next step is, even after 3 days, it's still a little tiny bit tacky, so I'm just going to take a setting powder. This is the statement powder from Roma London, and I'm just going to take a fluffy powder brush and just kind of set the cut. And now when you feel it, it shouldn't really feel tacky anymore. Alright, so the next steps would be to paint it. So you can either paint it on this case if you want. If you can wreck it, then you could just paint it on here. Or you can move it to a different piece of paper and paint it. Or you can stick it right to your skin and then paint it right that way. But I'm gonna do like a pre-paint and then stick it on my skin and then finish painting it for you guys to see. That is the finished pulled off product. You can trim these ends a little bit because, you know, with the toilet paper it gets kind of rough. So you can trim those, and I would suggest trimming them before you start painting because if you wait until after, it just becomes a big mess. So I'm just going to take my cut and just kind of put it on the piece of paper so that way it's easier to paint, because then I can just kind of paint all over it, and if I kind of miss, it's not going to get on like my desk and stuff. And then I have just two little brushes. These are literally like brushes. You know when you buy gel eyeliner and stuff? These are the brushes that come with them, and I was like, I'm never going to use these, so might as well just wreck them with paint. So the first tip that I can give you that I didn't do the first time is don't paint all of it before you stick it to your skin, because with the first one I did here, oh no, that wasn't the first one. With this one, I painted all of it, and then as you can guess, when I was sticking it to my skin, the paint got everywhere because I already had it all painted, so it got everywhere. So if you're going to make them and pre-paint them before you stick them on, I would suggest kind of just coloring in this inside part and getting in all the little corners, so that way when you glue them on you don't have to worry about doing that, you just have to worry about blending it into the skin. So obviously the middle of a cut is the freshest, so it will have the most red kind of black tones in it. I have the purple, the black, and the red here from that injury stack. So I'm gonna start with the red. You're gonna need a lot, and this doesn't have to be like professional grade art skills because it is an open wound. So I'm just gonna paint all the middle red here. And then I'm gonna go to the black, so because this obviously looks a little bit too fresh. Like the cut that I was aiming for is like relatively fresh but not too fresh. So this, if you wanted a super fresh wound, I'd put like just a little bit of black in here and leave it pretty red, because obviously you know when you cut yourself the blood is very red, but then as it dries it gets darker. So the fresher cut, more red blood, little more like old cut, more black and more like dark purple and stuff, so that way it looks like it's been sitting there for a while, congealing. So I'm just gonna take the black, and I'm pretty much gonna go all over top of the red again. I put this red down, I'm basically just gonna go right over it all with the black. So after whipping off my brush again, I'm just going to take a little bit more of the red, just kind of put a tiny thin layer over top of the black again. Alright, so then I'm going to take the red again, and I'm going to kind of go up the walls of the cut a little bit. I don't know why I decided to start in the middle, but I'm just going to take the red and kind of drag it up. You can even put like only a little bit of product on your brush and just take what's in the middle and just kind of drag it up. If you want to do that too, it works also. So after you've done that, I'm not sure if this step actually did anything or not, but I did it anyways. Just to go back with the black and just take it kind of on like the tip of the brush, and I just ran it right in that little crease, the crease between the toilet paper and like that liquid latex that we laid down before. I just kind of put it right in that little crease. Alright, so this is the inside of the cut all painted, so now we're just going to apply it to the skin. So to do that, you're going to need liquid latex again, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, but you're also going to need some Vaseline. This is so that when you put the latex on, it will come off easy. I didn't do this the first time, and it hurt like a bitch to pull off. Like, I got like a rash from it because I pulled it off and it was like on this part of my arm. This is a different one that I made before Halloween, and like it was like a red and like a rash for like a day and a half. It was not pretty. Alright, then taking a little bit of the liquid latex, we're just going to peel this off. Oh gosh, it's sticking to the paper. There we go. We're going to flip it over, take some of the liquid latex and kind of coat the back in the liquid latex. Then just leave that for a second and then do the same kind of on your arm. So after you've given that kind of a minute or two to kind of set up, just kind of stick it to your skin. Oh, it's cold. And just kind of press it so that the liquid latex sticks. So I'm just going to take the purple and very lightly kind of go over a little bit of this yellow. The purple helps it look like the skin has been stretched a little bit, because obviously if you've cut into the skin, it's, you know, been stretched. Then after you're done with the purple, you're gonna want to take the red and kind of fill in the rest of the space. Like anywhere there's yellow, make sure you put red. And if you find that the product is kind of smearing versus like painting, because this is a cream product, just kind of pat it instead of like going like this, just kind of pat it in one spot, so that way you're putting the product right on that area and not moving it around. You kind of have it as you want, just kind of look at it from lots of angles to make sure that it is all covered in paint. I'm just gonna take some liquid blood and put it in the same little tray that I have the latex in. And I'm gonna take a sponge and I'm just going to put the blood in this cup here. As you can see, it makes it look a lot more juicy, I suppose, so it looks more like the blood is kind of running. And there is it with the blood. So it looks a lot more kind of juicy. It's a weird placement, I know. Like, the reason if it's looking kind of funky is because it's right down the middle of my hand, so the chances of you getting a cut like this are kind of weird. But if I had put it like here on my tattoo, or even like I'd put it more like here, it looks a lot better. Or even on my neck like I did before. So yeah, that is how I made the claw marks for my Halloween costume. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I am by no means an expert. This is just kind of the technique that I used, and I thought it looked pretty good. So yeah, if you guys recreate this look, definitely like tag me in pictures on Instagram, or you can Snapchat them to me, or like post them to Twitter and tag me. All my links, or even I guess you could do Tumblr too, because I have a Tumblr. All my links for those things are in the description, so definitely tag me in them and I will look at them and like favorite them and stuff. But yeah, that is about it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you do, please give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!